Hello everyone, and welcome to the 400 subscriber Q&A special. If you didn't watch the announcement video for this is what I decided to do to celebrate hitting 400 subscribers instead of the usual train simulator video. I'm not sure when this video is going to come out, but in case it comes out before a look back at Nickel Plate Road Excursion engines does, I would like to point out that that video is still being worked on and should be out very soon. With all that needs to have been said out of the way, let's get into the questions. Evan's Megazord Reviews asks, what's your favorite steam locomotive? My favorite steam locomotive is probably Grand Trunk Western 6325. Either that or just any locomotive that looks like this and has this and just basically anything that looks like it came from the USRA. What inspired you to make the A Look Back At series? I didn't really have an inspiration per se, aside from maybe the top 10 list that Christopher Kovacs and Jim Vanderkolk made. I was just at home from school one day, and my parents were out from work. I was sick, and I had nothing to do. I didn't know what my classwork for the day was yet, so I just decided to make that video, and that's what I spent the day doing. What stuff do you have planned for the future? I don't really have any plans for the future, I guess, aside from wanting to do more rail fanning videos and doing more videos in the Look Back At series. Most of the videos that I've been putting out that aren't like rail fanning or a look back at stuff or like vlogs from races that I go to, there's just stuff that kind of pops into my head. So nothing really special planned, at least for right now. So that could always change. LIRR39 Steam Locomotive Studios asks, thoughts on the Long Island Railroad and the Ulster and Delaware Railroad? Long Island Railroad, I guess, is a cool commuter line, I guess. Don't really have too much of an opinion on it. I know they had some affiliation with the Pennsylvania Railroad back in the steam era, so that's kind of cool. And then the Ulster and Delaware Railroad, I guess that's also a pretty cool railroad. If I understand correctly, it became what is now the Catskill Mountain Railroad. So that's pretty cool, I guess, that the line still lives on. Northern Pacific Productions NNW Challenger 611 asks, what's your favorite railroad? My favorite railroad is probably the Grand Trunk Western, followed by the Santa Fe and the Southern Pacific. What's your least favorite steam locomotive? My least favorite steam locomotive, I don't really have one, but if I had to choose, I guess I would just say anything off the Delaware and Hudson. What game you play? I'm guessing that means what games do I play. In terms of train simulators, as you see in the background, I just play Railworks or Train Simulator 2020 or whatever current year is. Aside from train simulators, though, I do play a lot of Minecraft. I play a lot of Halo, Portal 2, Portal, Half-Life, that kind of stuff. Opinion on the 3985 retirement. I think it's kind of sad. I was really looking forward for 3985 to come back to operation. I was so looking forward to seeing Union Pacific having 3 operational mainline steamers, but I guess that just wasn't meant to be. Who's better, 4014 and 3985 or 4449 and 611? I would have to go with 4449 and 611 just because I like the look of passenger engines a lot more than freight engines. Like, don't get me wrong, freight engines are cool and all, but I just prefer the look and style of passenger engines. Miles Spear asks, is lasagna just spaghetti flavored cake? Alright, you listen here, Buster. You come into my comment section and you dare to ask a question such as this. How dare Kmaster 2007 asks, one stays, Union Pacific, CSX, or Penn Central? I'm assuming you mean Union Pacific, and if you do, that's what I pick, Union Pacific. If you could stay 5 steam locomotives from the 1940s, what would they be? New York Central J3A, Southern Pacific MT4, Pennsylvania Railroad J1, Boston and Maine T1, and the Norfolk and Western Y6B. Aiden Dolan asks, what do you think about Steamtown? I really like Steamtown. It's been on my bucket list of places to go for train stuff for the longest time now, so yeah, I really like Steamtown. Hugo the Music Fan and Train Capture 5048 asks, do you have any model trains? Yes, I do. I have a lot of G-scale model trains that we normally put up around our Christmas tree in December. I have some HO scale trains for a layout that I've been working on, but progress has been very, very slow on that. but I do have like a weird Santa Fe F40 PH and like a Pennsylvania Railroad 060 or something like that. They're both like Norman Rockwell sets from a very long time ago. What's my favorite Steam engine? Like I said earlier in the video, Grand Trunk Western 6325, or just anything that looks like it came out of the USRA. What is your reaction to COVID-19 or coronavirus? I think it sucks. That's probably the popular opinion here. It's ruined a lot of the fun stuff that I had planned for this year. I was gonna go to the Cumbres and Toltec in July, but that's now been pushed back another year. One of the good things about it, at least for me, is that it's allowed me to reconnect with a lot of my friends over Xbox now, and I haven't talked to a lot of them, at least over Xbox, since like middle school, so that's been fun to catch back up with them. But everything else about it is just kind of sucks, especially because it's kicked the internet crazies into overdrive if you look at the comments for any news videos about it, and that's probably like that's annoying to look at. And then, what's your favorite train film? My favorite train film, or train DVD, I guess, would be Steam Memories of Ontario by Rail Innovations. It's got a lot of great stories from old Canadian Pacific and Canadian National engineers and firemen, and it's a great watch if you're able to get it. Like, I highly recommend it. Battle604 asks, what do you like the most, 484s, 282s, or 280s? 282s, I've always liked Mikados. They just seem like nice mid-size engines that wouldn't be that out of place on the main line or on a branch line. I like Mikados. Brady XX200 asks, what inspired you to start creating content on YouTube? This is a bit of an interesting one, because when I started my channel back in 2014, 2015, it used to be a very, very crummy Minecraft gaming channel. And what inspired me with that one was just because at the time I was watching a lot of YouTubers like Stampy Longnose and that kind of stuff. But then as time went on, I realized, oh yeah, no, this is pretty cringe, not gonna lie. So there was other channels that I started watching at the time, like CoasterFan2105, Christopher Kovacs, and those kind of guys, and they inspired me to start making train videos, and that's what I've been doing ever since. Luna asks, what would you do if one day your hands got turned into living, breathing, and very angry cats? I don't know, whatever Steven Universe did to solve that, because that's just the plot of one of those episodes. Winkleman Channel asks, what's your favorite steam locomotive in Ohio? Grand Trunk Western 6325. Winta Asifa, sorry if I mispronounced that, asks, what is your number one Southern Pacific steam locomotive that's not 4449? The Southern Pacific NT4s. What do you think about Lionel reusing the same trains over and over? I don't really keep up with Lionel that much, or just model railroading, stuff like that in general. But that sounds like a cheap tactic. I don't know. I don't really have much of a say on the matter. Are you old enough to drive? I'm old enough to get my license. I'm still working on getting a permit because I'm just being really slow about it. Grand Trunk Western 5629 or CB&Q 5623, one stays, the other death. 5629. Union Pacific 336 SSW 909 asks, do you have an aunt? Yes, I have two of them, one on my dad's side, one on my mom's side. Do you know what Amtrak certified means? No, I do not. What steam locomotive would you want to expect to see come to your area? Santa Fe 3751 probably has the highest chance of coming back to San Diego. I'd really like to see it come through. It last came in like 2010. And I've been dying to see it come through San Diego again. I've always wanted to chase a steam excursion through my hometown. And have you ever heard of Milwaukee Road 261? Yes, I have. Very good engine. Not my favorite of all time, but still a very good engine. Oakland Pacific Central asks, Southern Pacific or Santa Fe? Santa Fe. When did you first start getting into trains? I'm not exactly sure. I've always liked trains for as long as I can remember, but I'm pretty sure the first ever thing that I saw related to trains that probably got me into it was this VHS tape that I used to have called In Focus Trains. It's up on YouTube if you look it up, and it was just a compilation of just trains around the country in like the late 90s, I'm pretty sure. It had steam locomotives, it had Metra, it had all this cool stuff, and that's, I'm pretty sure, what got me into trains. What's my favorite locomotive at the CSRM? I'm assuming that means California State Railroad Museum, I think. And if that's the case, it's Southern Pacific 2467. What do you think about Bachmann's crazy prices? Again, I don't really keep up with model railroading news, so I don't really have an opinion on that. Freedom-loving loyalist asks, what software do you use? I assume you mean editing software, and for editing, I use Adobe Premiere Pro. Are you Canadian? No, I am not. I have not been to Canada a day in my life. Born and raised in San Diego, have not been anywhere farther north than San Francisco. Have you heard of the National Dream, a Canadian mini-series that talks about the building of the Transcontinental Railway in Canada? No, I have not, but that sounds interesting, and I'll have to check that out sometime. Southern Pacific 2467 Productions asks, Grand Canyon Railway or Southern Pacific? Southern Pacific. What's your favorite railroad museum? In terms of museums that I've been to, probably either the Southern California Railway Museum, which used to be Orange Empire, or the Pacific Southwest Railway Museum. But in terms of museums just in general that I haven't visited, probably Steamtown. Have any model trains? Yes, I do. As I said earlier, I am working on a 4x8 HO scale layout, but it is very slow in progress. And I have a couple of old Norman Rockwell sets that I got from my grandparents. Steam locomotives or diesels? Steam locomotives. What's your favorite whistle chime? Probably the 5 chime. No 5 chime in particular. I just like 5 chimes overall. And finally, Tryhard Animation Studios asks, do you play any instruments? If so, which ones? Yes, I do. I play the violin. Are there any steam locomotives in Southern California other than 3751? Off the top of my head, there's the Poway Midland Railroad number 3, Fillmore and Western number 14, the steam locomotives at Disneyland, Ventura County Railway number 2, and there's probably a good handful of others that I'm not thinking of right now. So if anyone wants to list those off in the comment section, please do. What's your favorite extinct steam locomotive other than the J3A Hudson? Probably the Southern Pacific MT4. What's your favorite trains/MSTS series? Probably the San Juan trains, followed by the Marysville Railroad series. And with that, that's going to wrap up the 400 subscriber Q&A special. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for 400 subscribers and for submitting your questions, and thank you for watching all the way through. I'd like to once again remind you guys that I'm not quite ready to take your suggestions yet, as I still have 2 more videos in the Look Back At series to get to before I can start doing that again. Once again, thank you for watching, and here's to another 400 subscribers.